Segment of the show for today. We're talking to Ms. JDavis3, who is the president and the CEO of an organization that's dedicated to helping people understand the avenues that they might use in receiving grants and other money from the federal government itself. And of course, Ms. Davis, let's pick up at that. And since we have dealt with this stimulus issue over the last many months in this nation, Ms. Davis, let's say something about the stimulus and how people might have access to that kind of money, et cetera.
Okay, the stimulus money is a part of a pot of money that is always there. Those are the grants that come out of each agency in the executive office of the president. HUD has them, transportation has them, all of the agencies have the Office of Education, agriculture, everything. But it's a way that you have to apply for them and justify your use of them. You can't just go and get the money. Now, they did digress by having the $10 billion faith-based funds that allowed the churches to be able to access money so they could provide some of these services under the previous administration, because he said, well, somebody else besides us has to help everybody. So that they set up a new system. But the certification part of that still is required. You still have to have your 501c3. You still have to be incorporated. You still have to have all your ducks in order. And you still have to have an accounting system and everything like that. It's not free money. You know, they did have a little issue with a couple of the big guys who were swapping jets. And each jet is $40 million, and they were writing them off, and they got caught in a little quagmire. So now there's a little thing on the application: do you receive jets, yachts, and all of that? But not anymore. But the little guy doesn't. For the person who wants to start the neighborhood assistance group for the senior citizens or helping the kids, the gang-oriented grants that are coming out, they're now incorporating those in the police department, the safe haven. All of those are good. The ones for HUD, I have a friend of mine, Miss Libby Crawford. She's remember Miss Libby's nursery. She had the first nursery in Nashville. They have gotten a grant for her to remodel her house through MDHA. She didn't even know about it until I told her, and I gave the guy her name. Next thing I knew, she said, they're in my house redoing everything. And those are the things that people need to find out about. It just takes a little application or somebody who can help you fill it out and get it together. The Second Harvest gets all the food, but they also can get their own agriculture licensing too, that I found out from an official up in Washington. We have the kinds of things that will allow people to do self-help things. Funds to help with the mortgages, funds to help relieve the stress on, I don't have a job. Well, you've done a job for 30 years with somebody. You can take those skills and turn them into a business for yourself. You can write it out, structure it, and that's what I help people do. I've not always been successful, but I'm not, you know, the perfect person. But anybody who I've ever worked with, someone to do it on their own, and that wasn't my problem. But now what I see is we have at least $1 billion in invested educational funding on the street, getting $250 a week in unemployment money. Those skills need to be put in a format that those people can get grants, start their own businesses, and maybe become consultants to their previous employer.
Do people find it difficult to become certified? I mean, what's the process that in that? Because that seems to me to be...
The certification process isn't difficult. It's just that they have had so many transitions. At one point, it would take you 3 to 6 months to get a 501c3. Coming into this administration, you're getting them in 3 to 5 weeks. So each generation, each administration had its own way of challenging or stopping or holding it up or diverting the money. But now it's at a point where they need us. They need the little guy, the person with that degree that that training to go out there and help to be able to get the money and deliver the services and help humanity. You know.
And these are the nonprofit sort of grants that are available now.
Oh yes, oh yes. And see, there's corporate America who had a chance to get it together. They didn't get it together. But there are things like the Community Reinvestment Act. 6% of the assets of every major bank in America has to be set aside for community investments. People don't know that.
No, very, very few people. I was not aware of that.
Okay, now 6% of Bank of America's assets is what? Dot, dot, dot. Big dots.
And that has to be set aside specifically for the
by law
for the community. And now, since that money is there and nobody's taking advantage of it, what happens? It just
rolls over. It just rolls over and earns interest. That's all. That's all they do.
But it's
available.
It's money that's available for any conscientious person who has some kind of idea.
But they've got to be certified, have the 501c3.